The family we choose for ourselves is more important than the one we're born into. That people have to earn our respect and trust, not have it handed to them simply because of genetics. Charles DeLint. Good afternoon, Dr. Joelle, Mrs. Lyons, faculty, staff, and my fellow students. Family has always been an important part of my life, but over the past 2 years, my family has influenced me more than ever before. I also learned a very valuable lesson. Family isn't always something you are born into. Sometimes it is who you choose. When COVID hit in 2020, 2 wonderful people moved into our home with us for various reasons. Those 2 people were Melody, who was 26 years old and worked for my parents' company, and Timo, who was 21 and was my brother's childhood friend. My older brother Hassan also left college and moved back with us. Suddenly, my family of 3 became a family of 6. During the first few months of COVID, when everyone was working from home and schools were remote, we spent a lot of time together in the house. It forced us to get to know each other really well, and we ended up doing a lot of really fun things together as a family and getting really close. Melody and I hung out together a lot, and we would always laugh and joke and have fun. Sometimes we would get in her car and drive around listening to music or bake trees at home and watch movies with one another. Our brother-sister relationship started to develop, and it was perfect. Over time, I got to know a lot about her personal life, and I learned that she never really had a close relationship with her family. Her parents were divorced when she was young, and her father left at some point and didn't come back. Her relationship with her mother was also strained, and she was not so close with her siblings either. She had gone through a tough time and mentioned how often she craved to have a close family connection. She said that living with us was the first time she felt like she truly belonged in a family. One person that has always been there for me, no matter what, is Timo. He is the absolute best. Even after suffering a tragic accident, he is still one of the most energetic and amazing people I've ever met. About the same time Melody moved in with us, I met Timo. Mostly all the things I like, he introduced me to. For example, I used to have a fear of roller coasters, but he knew I would like them, so he forced me on them. And now I love thrill rides. Even the way he talked affected the way I talked. In a good way, of course. He also played video games with me and introduced me to games like FIFA and 2K. We had the best relationship. We would connect on everything. At this point, I truly felt like he was my brother. My biological brother, Hassan, is almost 11 years older than me. So growing up, we weren't always so close. We were always at different stages of our life, and by the time I was old enough to start connecting with him, he went off to college. I felt on many occasions when he would come back home to visit that he would also wasn't quite sure how to deal with me or treat me. We both loved each other, but we weren't sure how to connect. Then COVID hit, and he was forced to move back home. Over the next few months, I could see his dad watching Melody, Timo, and I interact and hang out. And I felt like he's slowly starting to learn how to interact with me and be an older brother. He began to spend more time with me and asked me if I wanted to hang out and do certain things together, like watch shows or play video games. All of a sudden, I felt like I had a big brother I always wanted, and we were starting to grow closer. Nothing could have made me happier. So as you can see, even though many things were rough because of COVID, I was lucky enough to have an amazing situation at home that definitely made the time more bearable and even fun. But unfortunately, as happens with many families, we ended up going through our own rough patch last January. It was at the time that Melody decided that she had to go off on her own and deal with some of her past issues. Although it was completely understandable, it was also unexpected and sudden. Within a day, she had made the decision, told my mom about it, and was gone. No goodbyes, no mention of where she was going, just that she had to do this. I was very sad, hurt, and confused. I felt like I had done something wrong, even though I knew I hadn't. I tried reaching out to her and to try and understand, but she never answered, and eventually her phone was permanently off. I still haven't been able to have a conversation with her since. A few days after that, and before I had a chance to process what had happened to Melody, Timo got into a very bad skiing accident on his birthday trip in LA. He was skiing on a black diamond slope, and he ended up losing control and crashing into the pole of the ski lift. He suffered a broken shoulder and leg, and a serious brain injury. I was devastated and terrified. No one knew if he would be okay or what the extent of his brain injury was. To make matters worse, he was all alone because his parents were all the way in Egypt. My parents quickly decided that my dad would be the one to fly up and be with him, since he is a doctor and could help manage his care until his family had the chance to make their way with him. I couldn't visit him or speak to him for a very long time, and his recovery was unclear. I'll never forget the first time I was able to get on the phone and speak to him. I cried when I first heard his voice, but you could tell he still wasn't fully himself yet. The first time we met in person after the accident was when he came back to New York and we all went to dinner and he came with us. We caught up with each other and had an amazing time. After that, he lived with us again for a few months. And they were the best few months of my life. We hung out so much, we would help his shoulder heal by playing basketball. We would watch shows together and so much more. And our relationship now is even stronger than it was before the accident. He even beat all the odds by running the New York Marathon in October. We're all there to cheer him on. In conclusion, Timo proved the doctors wrong by making it through an impossible situation. I truly admire him. The past year has been rough, but now things are settling down nicely. Timo is recovering nicely and getting stronger each day that passes. His dad and I have developed a good and close relationship that we're both happy and comfortable with. And Melody, well, let's just say I no longer spend time on the whys and what-ifs. I understand her choice and support her decision because it's better for her, and I hope she found the peace she needed. This is the year that I also learned that my family is not only about. This year I also learned that family is not only about going through the good times together, but it's also about sticking together through the rough times. I spent many years when I was younger wishing I had more siblings and a brother I was close to, and that is exactly what I ended up with. Not because they were born into my family, but because I chose them to be my